Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 2 of the Fenway Faithful podcast presented by Guy Boston Sports. I am your host, Anastasios Kilimos. They call me the Greek Freak, and this is now the official podcast of the number one team in baseball in the year of our Lord, 2023. That's right, folks. The Boston Red Sox are the best team in baseball as of today. Undefeated in spring training, have not lost a single game in this year. Is it spring training? Yeah, but we're undefeated, baby. We're the best team in baseball as of today. As of right now, the Red Sox are the best team in baseball. Later in the season, if things go wrong, we can all come back to this point right now, to this episode. We can timestamp this. At this time of the year, we were feeling good about ourselves. The Red Sox were the best team in Major League Baseball. We beat the Puerto Rican national team. We're beating World Baseball Classic teams with our spring training team. The Red Sox, as of right now, cannot be stopped. They cannot be cooled down. We're the hottest offense in baseball. All of these things are true as of right now. Will they be true in a couple of months from now? Time will tell. That's what I want to talk about today, folks. We are talking Red Sox spring training baseball. We are now a couple weeks into the spring training part of the season. We are about 4 weeks away or so from the actual start of Major League Baseball and opening day. And so far, so good for the Boston Red Sox. We have looked like the best team in Major League Baseball thus far. And it's really not close. I mean, we are dominating spring training. Every game I watch, every game that the Red Sox play, they are scoring runs and they are dominating teams. It doesn't matter if it's the Braves or Puerto Rico or anybody. They are dominating every team they play. They haven't lost. They have not lost this spring training. They have, including exhibition games, which include like the Puerto Rico game, the game when they played Purdue College. They are 10 wins, no losses, and 3 ties because, of course, in spring training, you can tie in a baseball game, which is, again, a dumb rule all around. But spring training, I get it. You don't need extra innings in an exhibition game. But so far, the returns on spring training have been great for the Red Sox. Across the board, we're seeing great things. We're seeing young guys get opportunities and taking them and taking advantage of them. The pitching has been fantastic. Boston, if this were the regular season, Red Sox fans would be losing their minds. I mean, Red Sox fans already kind of are losing their minds over this team. I know I am. It's dumb because it is spring training and they're just exhibition games. It's practice, and obviously the teams don't have their actual full rosters and they're not actually playing at their maximum. Let's say maximum effort. Like the young guys are, the guys who are trying to fight for a chance to make the team are, but like the older guys, this is just warm up. This is just getting them into the motion for the start of the regular season. But Boston has looked fantastic. And, it's encouraging as a Red Sox fan. I have hyped myself up into believing this team is going to be a lot better than I thought just off of these 13 exhibition games. Is that wrong? Probably. You probably shouldn't do that. And if you're, a sensible Red Sox fans, I'd recommend not buying overly into the spring training hype. But it's hard not to get excited. First of all, baseball is back on. It's been fun being able to turn the TV on and, oh yeah, look at the Red Sox are playing on 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Perfect. It's nice having that opportunity to just watch Red Sox baseball every day. It makes me excited for what's coming. The fact that the season is about a month away. It's been nice to be able to turn on Nesson and there are the Red Sox. And it's not a throwback game or a college game. It's the actual Red Sox. Kind of. Again, it's a little appetizer, if you will, for the real season that's coming up very soon. But the Red Sox have been fantastic, and it's been fun to watch. They've been an exciting team through spring training. They are scoring runs like it's going out of style. It has been unbelievable how the offensive production, just not including the exhibition games, just including the spring training games where they're playing actual MLB teams. The Red Sox have not scored less than 4 runs in a game. That's the lowest number of runs Boston has scored. Again, this is not including exhibition games, but I'm pretty sure if you include the exhibition games against like Purdue and Puerto Rico, I think the number's the same. They are not scoring less than 4 runs a game. Like they score at least 4 runs every single game. I mean, if you go through their streak of games, the number of runs scored is just astonishing. They beat Puerto Rico today 9-3. They beat the Braves yesterday 10-2. Here's their streak of games starting back in February and going through March. All of their games, again, these are the actual spring training games against major league teams. 6 runs, 7 runs. 4 runs, 7 runs. 4 runs, 15 runs. That Phillies game was a lot of fun to watch. 9 runs, 4 runs. 4 runs, 7 runs, 10 runs. Again, those are just the spring training games against major league teams. That's not including the 9 runs they scored today against Puerto Rico or the scores of the other games that I don't know off the top of my head. But this offense is humming. They are scoring runs like crazy, and it's fun baseball. It's fun to watch. We talked about it last episode, the pitch clock. I'm starting to just get very used to it. I'm not really even to the point anymore where it's like I wouldn't say I'm 100% used to it yet. I would still say it's taking some getting used to. But for the most part, it doesn't faze me anymore. It's not like as in your face, in my opinion, as it was the first couple games. I think just because now I've watched at least enough games now where it's like, okay, it's there, it's happening, I'm used to it, cool, let's move on. And that's how it is. And I think that's how a lot of fans, you're seeing less and less chatter about it. I think it's going to be something that just becomes natural. And of course, whenever a player gets struck out in a big moment or a team loses a game because of a batter violation or a pitch clock violation, then I think you're going to see the conversation come back up. But for the most part, I haven't paid attention to it, and it's just part of the game now. But again, the Red Sox have been fantastic, and it does beg the question, does any of their play in spring training, is anything that's going on right now, all the success they're having, hitting, even pitching, they've been pitching very well, especially the bullpen has been pitching very well in spring training. Does any of this spring training play translate to the regular season? Yes and no, in my opinion. Obviously, there are some guys who are producing for them right now, a lot of people who are playing for them right now who probably aren't going to be on the opening day roster. So some of the guys who are producing, you're probably not going to see them. So you got to take a lot of it with a grain of salt because a lot of the guys who are playing well, first off, aren't going to be there come opening day because they're minor leaguers, they're young guys, and maybe some of them have played well enough to earn a spot. But the reality is, a lot of these guys aren't even going to be on the roster. The other reality you have to face is it's spring training baseball. And just like with NFL preseason and NBA preseason and hockey preseason, whatever, and soccer exhibition matches, you're not getting the full, yes, you're wearing the uniforms, you're playing in the stadiums, you're playing major league teams, and some of the teams have their veteran guys out there and their stars, sure, but it's not a real game. You're not, you think Rafael Devers, who's only appeared in a handful of games for the Red Sox, he's more focused on the World Baseball Classic right now. Do you really think they're putting 100% effort into a spring training game? This is just practice. This is just warm up for them. It's a scrimmage, essentially. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. When you see players hitting 400, they're batting 400. First of all, the sample size is small because it's only been a handful of games. But batting 400, they're facing pitchers who, let's face it, probably aren't going to be on a major league roster. Or they're guys who are just getting a couple practice pitches in. They're not really taking it overtly seriously. And that's kind of where you have to take it with a grain of salt. And that's where it's like, for me, I was literally thinking about it before I started recording, was like, man, I can watch what's going on in spring training and really talk myself into the Red Sox making the playoffs just off of the 13 games I've seen in the preseason. But you have to remind yourself that it's preseason. And although it's nice what we've seen so far, and I do think there are good things to take away and things that could translate into the regular season, the reality is it's the preseason, it's exhibition game. They're all really exhibition games, and you have to take it all with a grain of salt. You can't be like the Red Sox are undefeated in February and March, therefore we're winning the World Series. As much as I'd like to say that's true, the fact of the matter is a lot of what's happening now probably won't translate into the regular season, but it could. There are some elements that can. There are some things that we're seeing now that we could see go into the regular season. That's the hope, obviously, is that some of these players who are playing well in the preseason and some of these things that are working for Boston in spring training will hopefully translate into the regular season and result in wins, result in Boston maybe making the playoffs this year. Who knows? Regardless, I do think if you're a Red Sox fan, you can take what you're seeing, again, with a grain of salt, but you can still enjoy it. The games have been fun. Watching them play and score runs like crazy has been fun. Do I think it's necessarily going to happen in the regular season? I hope so. I don't really know. They're the best offense in spring training right now. I don't know if that's going to be the case in April, May, June, July, August, September, and on. I don't know if they're going to be that hot offense. I don't think so personally. I don't even think this is a top 10 offense, honestly. I could be wrong. So what can you take away? What are the things that could translate? Well, some of these young hitters, honestly, you could see them translate into the regular season. You could see them carry these performances into the regular season and carry it all year round. You know, Tristan Casas, for example, has had a very great spring training for Boston. He's been hitting the ball well. He is going to be, I believe, and I think it's not officially confirmed, but it's pretty much confirmed, he's going to be our starting first baseman this year. I don't think it's going to be Dahlbeck, although Dahlbeck has hit very well in spring training also, has played very well. Casas has been groomed in the minor leagues for a while now. It's his time to rise and shine. I think he'll be the starting first baseman. Again, that's not really a hot take or a shocking take. I think it's pretty much universally accepted amongst Red Sox Nation and baseball community that Tristan Casas is going to be our starting first baseman. And listen, he's been playing very well in spring training. He's been hitting the ball well. Hopefully, he can take that production in the spring and carry it into the regular season. I think he can. I think he absolutely can. I think Tristan Casas could have a great rookie year, possibly Rookie of the Year candidate. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins Rookie of the Year with Boston. If he has a lot of potential. I think he could be the next kind of star for Boston now. Obviously with Bogart's gone and they've lost a lot of their homegrown guys. Casas can be one of those homegrown guys that step up and becomes a star in Boston. I think he's one of the top 10. He's got to be one of the top 10 favorites to win the American League Rookie of the Year award. I think personally, I would say he is top 3 favorite. I would say, obviously biased Red Sox fan, I think he's going to win the award just because of the fact that he is, because of the state of the Red Sox right now, he's going to be thrust into a pretty significant role on the team. And so I do think it's likely that he has an opportunity to shine and become Rookie of the Year. Like I said, he's definitely got to be in the running. I think he's definitely, just in the preseason odds, he's one of the top odds for American League Rookie of the Year. So I would not be surprised if he does that. And he's played very well in the spring, so I could see that carry over. A couple of the other young hitters, like I said, Dahlbeck, kind of an outcast now with the Red Sox, but he's played very well in spring training. I think he's earned a spot on the team, obviously. I still believe, truthfully, that he'll end up being traded by the trade deadline. I think that Boston could very well use him as a piece to maybe get a pitcher or something. I don't think Dahlbeck will be with Boston for a lot longer, but he's looked good in spring training. And I know he's been terrible as of last season, but I do think that he has potential. He's flashed it with the Red Sox at a major league level before. Story time, I was at a Red Sox game, was it last year or 2 years ago? Might have been, I think it was 2 years ago. We're sitting in center field, Fenway Park. I live bet in the stadium, Bobby Dahlbeck, anytime home run hitter. First at bat, boom, hits it right into center field, a couple rows in front of us. I won like $600 off that bet, was incredible. And then I almost bet it again because did he hit another home run or a double? He had another crazy hit. He had a great game. I think he had 2 home runs that game. One of the craziest moments of my life. All the fans in the area, I was telling guys, we need Bobby Dahlbeck to hit a home run. I have a huge bet on him. I need him to hit it. Bobby Dahlbeck hit a home run. First at bat, I think it was the second inning or first. They were playing the Royals. I remember it was a home run derby game against Kansas City. It was like, I forget what the final score was, but I felt like it was home run after home run after home run. But that was one of the crazy moments, and that's why it's weird to say I have a soft spot for Dahlbeck because he won me a bet, but that's one of the coolest moments I've ever experienced. Like, it wasn't just the fact that I hit the bet; it's the fact that, like, I had Red Sox fans. I had my friends with me, but I had Red Sox fans who I didn't know, who I just, because I was talking about the bet and I need Dahlbeck to hit a home run. The whole section basically got invested in this bet that I had placed. And so when Bobby Dahlbeck hits a home run, obviously you're a Red Sox fan, you're in Fenway Park, he hits a home run, you're excited naturally. But my whole section was really going crazy because they all knew I had this wager on Dahlbeck anytime home run hitter. I think it was like $20 to win like 600, something along those lines. It was crazy. And so everyone was going nuts. And so it was one of the coolest moments, not coolest moments of my life. My life's not that sad. But it was a cool moment in terms of my fan experience at Fenway Park. So that was, and so I'll always have a little soft spot for Dahlbeck there, but I can also admit he's been, a disappointment. But he's been very good in spring training. I think he's earned a spot on the team. I don't think he should be the starting first baseman. I think that goes to Casas. But as a rotational guy, as the kind of the backup first baseman, maybe Dahlbeck, this spring training performance earns him more playing time, earns him more opportunities with the Red Sox. Who knows? But you're seeing a lot of the young guys playing well. Jarren Duran's been hitting the ball very well. You're seeing guys like Tapia, who I think a lot of people were like, I don't think he's going to make the team. He actually might be playing himself into a roster spot right now. You're seeing a lot of the guys who, Rafaela playing pretty well. Valdez playing very well. You're seeing some young guys who either are going to be, impact players on the Red Sox this year or in the coming years, getting opportunities and utilizing them and playing very well. I will say Christian Arroyo. Again, I don't know if this is a hot take because I feel like I'm seeing it everywhere. I love Christian. I'm becoming a huge Christian Arroyo fan. He's becoming, I feel like, maybe every team has this, but the Red Sox in particular, every year or every couple of years, they have these guys who just kind of, it feels like they come out of nowhere, honestly, and they just become fan favorites. Steve Pearce obviously was one that comes to mind. Mitch Moreland, Shane Victorino. They could be former stars. They could be just random guys. Last year I feel like John Schreiber was that for the Red Sox, a guy who kind of came out of nowhere and was just, he embodied the Red Sox and the spirit of Boston. And I feel like every year you kind of have that. And obviously Brock Holt had that for a while. I think Christian Arroyo is the next one. I think he's already a fan favorite, or I think he's going to become an even bigger fan favorite. He's been playing very well. He's been solid for the Red Sox thus far in his career, obviously smaller serving sizes. I think he's going to get a bigger role this year, whether he starts at second base or shortstop. He'll probably be switching with Kike. He's going to have a much bigger role at the team. I think he's going to utilize it well. He's been hitting very well in spring training. I think Arroyo is going to be a great player for Boston. I think he's going to become a fan favorite instantly. He's easy to root for. He's a fun guy to root for. I'm falling in love with Christian Arroyo. I think Red Sox Nation is too, and I think they will continue to fall in love with him as the season goes on because, again, I think he's just going to be one of those impact, kind of a low, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a low caliber kind of guy, someone who kind of came out of nowhere, who rises up and has a great year and is an X factor kind of competitor for the Red Sox. I don't know if maybe it's far-fetched to say. I think Arroyo could be a big difference maker for Boston this year. I think in some key moments he could be a difference maker for the Red Sox. I love him. I love the guy already. He's got a great personality. I love rooting for him. Very much looking forward to see what Arroyo does for the Red Sox this year. But so far in spring training, he's been fantastic. The one other area that I think has been very great in spring training thus far for Boston is the relief pitching. You're seeing some guys who probably a month ago you probably wouldn't have talked about making the roster, who are now you're kind of like, ooh, that could be interesting. Brian Mata, I think he's definitely going to be in the bullpen for the Red Sox. He's been fantastic this spring training. Wyatt Mills, who a lot of people saw as sort of John Schreiber 2.0. He's very similar to Schreiber, but I think he has more upside. Wyatt Mills has been unbelievable this spring training. What does he have, like 11? I think he has 11 strikeouts and like 5 innings this postseason. This spring training, postseason, hopefully the postseason. This spring training, he's been fantastic. And Wyatt Mills was kind of like a bubble guy, kind of, might make the team, probably won't. I think Wyatt Mills has been playing himself into a roster spot. Boston's bullpen actually looks really good. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Boston's bullpen, you're seeing some guys, like I said, like Brian Mata, like Wyatt Mills. I thought Cutter Crawford, he could be a starter because of the injuries. He might end up being a starter to start the year, but I think he'll ultimately become a bullpen guy / backup starter. I think Boston's bullpen is pretty strong. It's a lot stronger than last year. Obviously, when you add Kenley Jensen, that was bound to become an improved area. But I think they have a lot of guys with potential to be really special relief pitchers. I like Boston's bullpen, and their bullpen has been unbelievable in spring training. Again, will that translate to the regular season? We'll see. But in spring training, the bullpen has been fantastic, just like the hitting. The bullpen has been great, and I really have been encouraged by it. to the point where I'm looking at the Red Sox roster and it's like, man, offensively, they look good on paper now. Like the more I look at it, the more I love it. The bullpen, the more I look at it, the more I love it. The starting rotation is still my biggest worry, but Chris Sale was pitching. He hit 96 miles per hour on his fastball. Only 2 innings, so it's take it with a grain of salt. And he's a walking injury, so it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it comes to Chris Sale and injuries. But it's encouraging to see him pitch. He looked pretty good. And again, only 2 innings, so it's tough to really, his last start, only 2 innings, so it's tough to really formulate an opinion on such a small sample size. But from what we've seen, he's looked good. Hopefully Chris Sale, he can stay healthy, and if he's anywhere close to his all-star form, he'll be a big-time player for the Red Sox. The starting rotation to me is still the biggest area of concern, but the potential is the biggest thing, and this is where I kind of will end this show, because it's not going to be a long show today. Where I'll end this episode is talking about what my biggest concern is for the Red Sox, and we've seen it already in spring training take place, and I think it's their biggest concern throughout the entire season, is health. I think health is the biggest enemy of Boston this year. I don't think it's a lack of talent, because honestly, the more I look at this team, whether it be in spring training or just look at the roster on paper, what they have, this is a good roster. Not a great roster, but a good roster. They have enough veteran pieces who I feel like can still still have an impact, and a bunch of young, intriguing prospects that are stepping up, like Tristan Casas. That I think this team could work and could sneak into the playoffs in the American League. I think they have the potential. Alex Cora is a great manager. They have enough veteran guys. If Verdugo could, there's a lot of potential. It's a lot of what ifs. I said that last episode. Boston feels like a team with a lot of what ifs, but Verdugo's a former All-Star. Devers is one of the best players in baseball. Turner's a former All-Star and World Series champion. They have a lot of guys who, Kike Hernandez, Adam Duvall. Oh, they're not as great anymore, but he can still bring production. They've got options. Hopefully Tristan Casas steps up. Hopefully Christian Arroyo steps up. Hopefully Kike finds his form. We'll see. But I feel like the potential is there. The biggest problem I feel like with Boston, and we were already starting to see it in spring training, is health. Health is going to be their biggest enemy. If they can stay healthy, Boston can make the playoffs. I'm convinced. If the Red Sox can stay healthy in 2023, I think they can be a playoff team. Because the biggest concern right now is if they can stay healthy. Especially like when it comes to the starting rotation. If Kluber, if Sale, if Paxton, if those 3 can stay healthy and they're anywhere close to their, I'm not saying their best, I'm not saying their peak, but if they're anywhere close to, let's say, their average years, Boston's starting rotation will not be bad. If Chris Sale is anywhere close to what his all-star form was, if Corey Kluber's anywhere close to where his all-star form was, if James Paxton's anywhere close to where his form was, Boston's starting rotation is not terrible. It's not. The problem and the reason why people kind of shit on it, including me, is because those 3 guys who are the best 3 starters in that rotation are all injury plagued all the time. And that's where I say health is the biggest thing. If they can stay healthy, they have a solid rotation. Pivetta is good enough as the 4th guy in that rotation. And then, they have Whitlock and Crawford and other options, and maybe they trade for somebody. But the big problem is health. If Chris Sale can stay healthy and pitch, he's a great pitcher. We just haven't seen him pitch in 3 years. That's the reality. I think the hate, especially I give Chris Sale a lot of hate. I'll be honest. I thought Boston, they can't really move off him, but I wish they could. But it's not because I don't like the guy. I like Chris Sale. I think when he's healthy, he's one of the better pitchers in baseball. The problem is, hasn't been healthy in 3 years. We haven't seen Chris Sale pitch more than a handful of games a year since 2019, 18? The World Series season is really the last time we saw Chris Sale as Chris Sale. Kind of in 2019, but that's when the injury started. That's when it kind of started. So that's the biggest problem with the Red Sox. It's health, and you're already seeing it in spring training. James Paxton's already hurt. Last year, he pretty much missed the entire year with injuries. This year, he's already hurt. Brian Bello is hurt. Justin Turner was a freak accident. That hit to the face was gnarly. Gnarly hit to the face. That's a freak accident, but it's still an injury, and he probably won't be ready for opening day now. It's debatable. They're talking about it. It's kind of too early to tell. But early signs, he's probably not going to be ready for opening day. So now Turner's hurt. Whitlock's hurt. Connor Wong, who I think a lot of people in the Red Sox organization are really high on as maybe the full-time, maybe the catcher in Boston. Obviously, right now it's Reese McGuire, and they have Jorge Alfaro backing him up because of the Wong injury, but they really like Connor Wong. Wong had a solid start to spring training before he hurt his hamstring. Now, we don't know how long he's going to be out for. You're already seeing injuries pile up, and Boston is not a team this year that's equipped to handle that. They cannot handle injuries. They don't have the depth, and they just don't have it, especially when it comes to pitching. They don't have a great rotation to begin with. Like I said, it's an older rotation. Their top three guys, Paxton, Kluber, and Sale, are older and injury plagued. After that, you've got Cutter Crawford, you've got Garrett Whitlock, Nick Pivetta, and then a grab bag of who else. They don't have the depth to handle Chris Sale going down, or Corey Kluber going down, or Paxton going down. They just don't. They don't. And the same thing on offense. They can't afford Justin Turner to go down. Who's going to step up? Dahlbeck? Hopefully. Maybe. They don't have the depth to handle these things. So that's where I'm concerned with Boston, and that's where, as fun as spring training has been, and they have been fantastic, like I said, best team in baseball in 2023. Nobody can touch the Red Sox right now, not even national teams like the Puerto Rican national team. They can't touch Boston right now. What's concerning to me is, and what I think is the biggest concern that all Red Sox fans should have for the season, is the fact that the injuries are already there. And injuries, and you can say that for any team, injuries are the biggest enemy. But with Boston in particular this year, they live or die by injuries. If they can't keep Chris Sale healthy, if they can't keep Corey Kluber healthy, if they can't keep James Paxton healthy, this team's going to have a hard time. If Justin Turner can't stay on the field, if Kike can't stay on the field, Trevor Story's obviously out probably for the whole year. I don't know. But he's out for, seems like probably most of the season. You know what I mean? Boston already seems to be piling up injuries. They can't handle that. This team is not equipped to deal with that. And so that's where my concern is. And it's not like it's they could get hurt. They're already getting hurt. It's not like it's we'll see what happens. Connor Wong, Trevor Story, Mondesi, he's recovering from a previous surgery, but he's still out. James Paxton's hurt. Garrett Whitlock's hurt. Turner's hurt. And we're getting the case may be, like I said, I know Justin Turner is a freak accident. It's still an injury nonetheless that he's going to miss a considerable amount of time. He may not even, we're 4 weeks out from spring training. He may not even be ready by then. So it's a freak accident, but it happens. But that's what I'm talking about, where they don't have the infrastructure on this team to deal with those kind of injuries. They can't afford for Justin Turner to not be there. So again, spring training, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to be negative. We're the best team in baseball right now. I want to have fun, and I'm sure Red Sox fans who are watching are having fun. I'm just saying, you're seeing the cracks in the foundation already. Be cautious when it comes to this team. Injuries are going to kill us, and you're already seeing them pile up. And again, I know a lot of the injuries, Connor Wong is a hamstring. James Paxton, a hamstring. A lot of these guys are just injuries that take time to heal, but they're not serious injuries. Still, not a good sign. Hopefully it's not a problem. Fingers crossed we have a clean bill of health this year, but I'm very concerned about the health of these guys. I'm very, and again, injuries are a part of the game, but it feels like this Red Sox team in particular, a lot of injury-prone guys, a lot of guys with a history of not being able to stay on the field, and this team's not built to deal with that, man. They need to be able to stay on the field, and again, if they can, we got a pretty good shot at the playoffs. I truly believe that. I believe that on paper, from what I've seen in spring training, from what the past of these players tell us, I think Boston can be a playoff team, but it all comes down to, can they stay on the field? I think that's going to be the X factor. Forget any player. I think the X factor for the Red Sox is health. If they can stay moderately healthy, this team has the potential. I really do believe that. I know we play in a tough division, and you could make the argument for all 5 of those teams in the AL East to be a playoff team. I think Boston definitely can get there. Can they stay healthy? That's the question that you have to ask yourself if you're a Red Sox fan. Can this team stay healthy? But guys, thank you for joining me again talking Red Sox baseball. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Looking for all of our socials. They are all right up here. Guy Boston Sports. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. We're everywhere. For me personally, you can follow me on Twitter at @akilimos, AKILIMOS, for more tweets, takes, etc. You can go on the Guy Boston Sports website, GuyBostonSports.com, blogs, videos, all of our content from all of our other writers and collaborators, all on there. Go check it out. Go subscribe. Go give us some love. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, we'll see you.